Go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Congressman. So you do believe that you're on the right side of a lot of issues when it comes to personal protections, so I'll commend you for your confidence. Unfortunately, when it comes to the rights of students and children, not only have you continually voted against their best interests, but you've been on the wrong side of those issues as well. In 2007, HB 4162, the Anti-School Bullying Act, would have required schools to implement anti-bullying and harassment guidelines, and you voted no. Fortunately, that bill passed despite your opposition. In 2008, HB 4404, that bill was designed to protect juveniles from receiving life sentences without parole. In my opinion, everyone deserves a second chance, especially kids who are incredibly vulnerable, should they be subject to the wrong crowd. In your opinion, they did not. You voted no, and again, that bill passed without your help. And finally, SB 861. This would have provided tuition assistance for the students in high poverty areas. These are the students with the least opportunity in some of the poorest neighborhoods in the state who could have used this sort of help for a better future down the line. You voted against that bill, but as I'm sure you could guess, there were more people on the right side of history, fortunately. If there's one thing we can take away from your votes, it's that you do not stand for the poorest families in this state and couldn't dare to look twice when it comes to protections for the least fortunate kids. I would love for you to explain your votes, Representative.
Well, thank you. Well, you've clearly done your research.
Yeah.
Let me just tell you a couple things. One is I'm a father of 6 children. I care deeply about the children here in this community throughout our state. I've been a school administrator. I've also worked at a place called Eagle Village, which isn't far away, which works with the most disadvantaged kids who have had challenging times. So I think it's kind of a mischaracterization to say I don't care about children. Then the question about the specific legislation, when it comes to bullying, I wouldn't want any child to be bullied for any reason. As a school administrator, I took that very seriously and made sure that it was my job to enforce that no child was being bullied for any reason. Now, did that mean that I supported a statewide cookie-cutter approach from the Michigan Department of Education that said these are the different delineated criteria that bullying occurs? Absolutely not.
But instead now there's no protections.
What you want to do is make sure that every child is safe, feels welcome for any reason. And so that's how I approach my job as a legislator, and it's based on actual practical experience.
I'm glad that you felt that way, but your vote did not represent that. You felt responsible to, as the administrator, to see over these kids and make sure that they were not bullied and protected. But some administrators do not feel that way, and so this, especially HB 4162, that would have put a basic guideline in place for them to follow that, should they not feel that that is their responsibility.
I don't know specifically which bill it is you're referring to, but there was one bill where the goal was to try and delineate all the different possible categories of possible issues that children may face as part of a statewide cookie-cutter approach from the Department of Education. I voted against that and said basically, and this was what I did vote for, no child should be bullied for any reason in our schools, and every school should have an anti-bullying policy on the books. So
they should have, but there was no specific legislation to go forward that. So what about the other two other two bills then?
The other 2 bills, I'm not even sure what you were referring to.
I'll just let you take that. HB 4404, which was designed to protect juveniles from receiving life sentences without parole, and SB 861, which would have provided tuition assistance for students in high poverty areas. You voted no for both of those.
Years those were?
2008 and 2008 for both.
2008, so I was in the Michigan House at that point.
Okay, but that still represents your votes going forward.
Yeah, it's been a while since we voted on those. So I guess what I would say is I don't recall the specifics on those.
I'm sorry to hear that.
If a person, commits a crime, I'm not sure that, again, I'm not sure what the specifics were of that legislation, but what I try and do is have a balanced approach when it comes to criminal justice, where you give people second chances. With the children that we worked with at Eagle Village, many of them had committed crimes, and the goal was to have them re-enter the community, be reconciled with their family, be contributing members of society. That isn't the case in every situation. So again, without knowing the specifics of the bill, I think criminal justice, we need to have a balanced approach that deters crime, has legitimate consequences when people do commit crimes, but also recognizes that people can change, and sometimes it's better to have someone who can come out of the criminal justice system and be a contributing member of society, that be recognized by the, justice system.
Then why did you vote for no parole?
Yeah, I don't know what the specific bill said, but
That's, your vote, though.
On the
All right.
Affordable Care Act,